I'm Kara Murphy, and this is Money with Murphy. Let's talk about the Dow Jones Industrial Average, or as it's affectionately known, the Dow. Recently, as I was driving home, I got a familiar call from my mom saying something like, "Kara, the Dow's down 300 points today." She usually only calls me when it's down, and it's usually followed by something like, "Kara, I'm losing money." To which I reply, "Mom, you're doing great. Your portfolio has grown a ton. And besides, no one really pays attention to the Dow." She then promptly ignored both comments and moved on to another topic, like my brother's latest haircut. So even though my mom doesn't really listen to me on this topic, I'll let you in on a little secret. Most professional investors don't pay attention to the Dow. Now, there are good reasons why it's so often quoted in the press. The Dow was first published way back in 1886 by Charles Dow, who was also the founding editor of the Wall Street Journal. In a series of editorials, he argued that the index, along with its sister index, the Dow Jones Transportation Average, could help predict future market moves. What became known as the Dow theory was really an early version of technical analysis. But the way the Dow was constructed created some challenges. The first is that constituents of the Dow index are chosen by the editors of the Wall Street Journal. There is no clear criteria for inclusion and no strict timetable by which changes are made. By contrast, the S&P 500 has 5 pretty straightforward criteria for inclusion, including market capitalization, so how big is the company, and liquidity, how easy is it to buy shares in the company. The S&P also has a regimented timetable for changes, so it's relatively easy to predict which names will come and go and when. A second challenge for the Dow is that it's price-weighted. This is also the real rub for practitioners like me who build portfolios for a living. In the Dow Jones Industrial Average, a stock with a higher price gets more weight in the index. This is in contrast to the S&P 500 and pretty much any other well-known index, which are market cap weighted. The larger the company, the bigger the weight. Here's the thing. The price of a stock is relatively arbitrary and gives us very little information about the company in isolation. Say, for instance, that company A has just one share priced at $100, and company B has 100 shares at $1 each. Both companies are the same size and would have the same weighting in the S&P 500. But in the Dow, company A would be 100 times the size of its peer. Earlier this week, we saw this in action when Walgreens was removed from the Dow and replaced by Amazon, tilting the index farther away from its industrial roots. Amazon has a share price of about $175, while Walgreens' stock price is about $21, which will give Amazon a much larger weight in the Dow and give it much greater influence over the index's day-to-day moves. While I'm sure newscasters will continue to report on the daily moves of the Dow, I'll keep reminding my mom that its practical implications are more limited. And for a long-term investor like her, it really shouldn't matter either way. Love you, Mom. Until next time, invest wisely and live richly.